fact of the matter is that from the 20th of June, the government has not been July hasn't been actually able to understand what really hit them. Finally, on the last few days, they've said that the Home Minister is ready to make a statement. What stopped you from doing it the very next day? You saw the Speaker who's been found wanting in the entire session. He's been one of the worst speakers in independent India in terms of running Parliament, and he's been the cause for this entire problem. So I've known Rahul from 2004 when he entered politics, and I've seen how he's evolved. Good for him. He's really been able to make a mark. His general PR from a Pappu to a leader of opposition has come up in a big way, and I think full credit to him. His personal PR has taken is gone on a new high. But the truth be told, as your program says, the fact is
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. With monsoon session of the Parliament to get over, just 2 days left, some unprecedented scenes played out in Parliament. Just to give you a little backdrop of what happened yesterday, and we did have a discussion with Neelu Chaudhary yesterday, where we told you that the government had agreed for a discussion on the student protests. And later on, the opposition, where Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge in the evening had a press conference, and they said that both issues were important, that is a Ram Mandir theft issue, as well as the student protests, and they wanted the government to have a discussion and also Amit Shah make a statement. But today, the strategy, it seems, on the part of the NDA government completely changed, because today what we saw in Parliament was just not a scenario of protest, but it was a protest versus a counter protest. Now, let me just show you some visuals, and some would say these are hilarious visuals. Some would say they are concerning, because you don't expect a Parliament to become a center of this kind of a play out. Now, a group of security men, arms interlocked, were standing in between the opposition and the NDA MPs as they raised slogans against each other while protesting right outside the Makar Dwar, which is one of the main gates at the Parliament building. And these scenes which you are playing, the scenes which you are watching on your screen is actually of this protest versus the counter protest. Now, the opposition has two demands. First, the Home Minister Amit Shah should appear in Parliament and explain the police crackdown on student protesters in Delhi, and a discussion on the embezzlement of donations at the Ram Temple in Ayodhya. Now, the counter-protest, the ruling party MPs, they have accused Rahul Gandhi of running away from the discussion and of practicing double standards as the police in Jharkhand, where the Congress is a junior ally in the Hemant Soren-led government, lathi charged the protesting students. So it's about Delhi versus what is happening in Jharkhand. But the big question is that is the government really trying to seek a bailout through by pointing out the protests in Jharkhand? Is the government really missing the big picture? What we are told is that apparently the BJP MPs are now being told to go back to their constituencies, connect with the Gen Zs. But will that work really? And what happens if these protests spill out of Jharkhand? What if you see these kind of similar protests in BJP-ruled states? Will BJP be able to control this sentiment? Joining me this evening is Sunil Prabhu, veteran journalist and political commentator. You've seen Sunil Prabhu often in Parliament, covering decades of Parliament. In fact, thank you so much, Sunil, for joining. It's a real pleasure having you on my program. And the first question I'll ask you. Yeah, so the first question I'm going to ask you is that in your decades-long experience of Parliament reporting, have you ever seen this kind of a protest versus protest?
Well, of course. I mean, it's now become the norm. It's become something that is quite prevalent as you come to the last days of Parliament session. You'll always see this counter-offensive that takes place, especially the reason being today was the NDA meeting. They're getting ready to go for the break. As you're well aware, Amit Shah was very keen on passing the FCRA bill. It had been deferred because of the Kerala elections. This time around, it's now being sent to a joint parliamentary committee. In a sense that the government hasn't been able to get its objectives. I think if you had looked back, there were 3 points that they were very keen on. They had worked from a 240 position in terms of BJP strength to a simple majority to getting a 2/3 majority after winning the Bengal elections. And they were just a little bit short of a 2/3 majority. And you had expected them to go ahead with the delimitation, become the new messiahs for women's reservation, and to go ahead with the FCRA amendment bill to ensure wherever funds are coming, it will be monitored. Even though they have been assured that it will not be retrospective, it was not there in the act. But we saw Christian organizations and others make a big to-do about it. And finally, the government has now just put it on, is planning to send it to a joint parliamentary committee for better, scrutiny, and hopefully they will be able to look at it tightly and then put various safeguards to ensure that it doesn't get misused or be used by the government end of the day to work against minorities or any other institution. Having said that, the counter-offensive and the offensive, if you look back, Neelu, at every session, and I can, from 2014 onwards, you'll always see the only difference this time was that we didn't see ministers go on the street as they usually do. They either go on to Vijay Chowk and the others where they lead protests. This time round, they confined themselves to the Makar Dwar because of probably of the rain, and really trying to put the ball back on the opposition. The fact of the matter is that from the 20th of June, the government has not been July hasn't been actually able to understand what really hit them. When you see over a lakh of students coming out on the streets, marching towards Parliament, tear gas and bullets being used against them. There have been injuries. Part of this reports that have come in the government records and government hospitals, so you can't wish it away. Not one single statement has come from the Home Minister, even though they first tried to say that, there was no firing, so what is the point? And there is others in the government to respond. Finally, on the last few days, they've said that the Home Minister is ready to make a statement. What stopped you from doing it the very next day? And as I've been saying, we've known Prime Minister Modi before he became Prime Minister way back from 95 onwards, and a man who didn't wilt under pressure, even if it was 99, 2000 during the IC 814. He was then a General Secretary, but he stood firm on what his position was. It's in that same context that this man, the Prime Minister today, says that, Dharmendra Pradhan must offer his resignation, gets onto Instagram to try to speak to people, trying to make a connect, which of course has been found wanting. I think somewhere down the line, they are going to do a lot of soul searching. There will be a cabinet reshuffle. There will be a lot of changes that will be made, but they will attempt to speak to their younger population because, as you know, Neelu, nearly 34 to 39% of India's younger generation are the ones who are going to vote in 2029. And if you don't make that connect now,
is it now like can we say it with conformity now that the government actually has made up its mind not to speak on the Jantar Mantar police crackdown, and which is why they changed the strategy. They've upped the ante on the Jharkhand protest and not to speak at all about the Jantar Mantar, and also they have very clearly ducked away the Ram Temple issue, which the opposition is obviously not ready for that. But are we to assume now that who knows, the Parliament might just adjourn sine die tomorrow or maybe day after? So are we going to assume now that for now at least the Modi government is not, Amit Shah will not answer on this police crackdown at all?
Well, they would like to wish it away. As you rightly pointed out, it's Parliament adjourns anyway cyanide on the 13th, unless they decide to extend it, which there is no urgency at this present juncture. If you see the FCRA is going to a JPC, they're not going to push things at
No,
this
but
present
what about
juncture.
the delimitation bill? Because that was a high point of the FCRA, and the delimitation bill were the high points of this monsoon session. So will they miss it?
You need bipartisan support for that. As I've been pointing out, a constitutional amendment needs every political party by and large to go through. As we saw in the Women's Reservation Bill, which was brought in the new parliament at that time, they got that bipartisan support because at that stage they wanted, everybody believed in women's reservation, even though the Congress had objected at that stage that you should do it immediately. Why wait till 2024? Do it immediately, implement it immediately. But they were not ready to do it. Now, because you know that it's not going to be able to play out in 2029, 2034 is going to be a thing. That is the reason why they want to bring the delimitation bill. Having said that, you will have to get the DMK on board. Southern parties fear that entire issue. It's also about gerrymandering of seats. The delimitation is not as simple as it sounds, because if you do it on the 2011 census, on that basis, there are certain misgivings. There are other issues. So all these points have to be looked at in its entirety. And that's the reason why every political party, be it the BJP, be it the Congress and others, are all studying and looking at how they can tweak. So I don't think you can have any quick fix solution, and it'll take some time. There is, I think the government has been found wanting in this session of Parliament, and they will need to do some soul searching, as I said, some new corrections before they take this forward and go ahead. So that's something that needs to be done at this stage.
So just to give a little perspective to the viewers as to what happened when the Parliament convened at 11 a.m., the Lok Sabha, what happened, what did Om Birla say? Let's play out what Om Birla had to say this morning.
माननीय सदस्यगण, मैंने व्यक्तिगत रूप से कई बार आग्रह किया कि प्रश्नकाल सबसे महत्वपूर्ण समय होता है। प्रश्नकाल के अंदर सरकार की जवाबदेही तय होती है, कार्यपालिका में पारदर्शिता भी आती है। और कई माननीय सदस्य मुझे व्यक्तिगत रूप से मिले और उन्होंने आग्रह किया, मैंने पहले भी व्यवस्था दे रखी है, चाहे सत्ता पक्ष हो चाहे प्रतिपक्ष हो, प्रश्नकाल के अंदर केवल प्रश्नकाल ही होगा और इसीलिए प्रश्नकाल चलने में सहयोग करें। कई बार इस विषय पे मैंने व्यक्तिगत रूप से सदन के अंदर आग्रह किया और देश की जनता भी चाहती है सदन चले। कल बीएससी की मीटिंग के अंदर भी सभी दलों से मैंने आग्रह किया था सदन चले, सदन में चर्चा हो, प्रश्नकाल हो और महत्वपूर्ण विधेयकों पर चर्चा होना चाहिए। ये विधेयक देश और राष्ट्र के साथ बहुत बड़े परिवर्तन लाने के विधेयक होते हैं, इस पे अच्छी चर्चा संवाद होना चाहिए। लेकिन कल बीएससी की मीटिंग में भी आग्रह किया, आज फिर आग्रह कर रहा हूं कि जिस विषय पर आप छात्रों के विषय पर मांग कर रहे थे, सरकार संसदीय कार्य मंत्री ने कल बीएससी की बैठक में स्पष्ट रूप से कहा कि गृह मंत्री इस बात पर जवाब देने को तैयार हैं। सदन सरकार चलाए, सरकार और प्रतिपक्ष दोनों मिलकर सहमति बनाओ, सदन चलना चाहिए। आपकी जो प्रमुख बातें थी, प्रमुख मुद्दा था छात्रों की मांग और गृह मंत्री जवाब दे या चर्चा में भाग ले, सरकार ने इसमें सहमति दर्ज कराई है। अब आप चलाएं, और मुद्दों पर भी चर्चा होगी, लेकिन एक एक मुद्दों पर सदन तो चले ना। आप सहयोग करो, ये संसदीय मर्यादाओं के अनुरूप नहीं है। सदन के अंदर तख्तियां बैनर लेकर आना, दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा लोकतंत्र भारत है। मेरा आग्रह पूर्वक रहता है कि तख्तियां लेना बंद करें, चर्चा और संवाद करें, बातचीत करें। आप सहयोग करें, मेरा आपसे आग्रह है, सदन चलाने में सहयोग करें। मेरी हमेशा कोशिश, मेरा मन व्यथित दुखी होता है सदन में चलने से। देश की जनता भी सदन में चर्चा संवाद देखना चाहती है।
This was the scene playing out at 11 a.m. when the House met for the question hour, and then it got adjourned till 2. When at 2 p.m. the House reconvened. At that point of time, they put the Kerala Alteration Name Bill for consideration and passage. And that time also, the opposition members trooped into the well of the House, and the House again got adjourned. But coming to you, Sunil, again, once again, that, today we almost saw a scene where the NDA MPs were sloganeering, and in between the NDA protest, Pawan Khera immediately walked in and said, "Where is the missing Amit Shah?" That was a hilarious scene, but how did Pawan Khera actually muster courage? What will it show about Pawan Khera today?
Well, it's good to see that, and I think you've also missed the visual of Priyanka Gandhi Vadra also telling some of the NDA MPs that Rahul Gandhi is there to speak to the thing. So it's it's good to see this these exchanges that take place in Parliament. That's the essence. You saw the speaker who's been found wanting in the entire session. He's been one of the worst speakers in independent India in terms of running Parliament, and he's been the cause for this entire problem. Much of this would have not have happened if you had a speaker who would be able to play a fair referee. And it's in that context today there is that lack of chemistry or the lack of trust between the opposition and the government. We keep talking about Amit Shah and the statement. I think we're missing the real story. The real story is that the government didn't want to answer about the Ram temple. They've been on the back foot about the entire incident where you saw Rahul Gandhi. They filed an FIR against him for this, when Pappu Yadav did that skit. I think that really hit them. And I think it's an emotive issue. People are not forgiving the government for what has happened. The fact that you could steal from the Ram temple, which was, something that is completely unacceptable to any believer or non-believer, that you have Bhagwan Ram ko bhi nahi choda hai. And I think that's the very, very uncomfortable question which the government has been trying to avoid completely. So it's in that backdrop, we'll now have to wait and watch and see how things play out. But definitely at this present juncture, the government is on the back foot. The Prime Minister is expected to reshuffle his cabinet during before we get back for the winter session. So we'll wait and see if they put something out immediately. But at the present juncture, they're really trying to find a new narrative, a new connection with the youngsters and other people, because Parliament has always been, as I call it, on the back foot, or has become a victim of circumstances in terms of parliamentary discourse. And the fact that there isn't a good chemistry between the government and the opposition has only worsened things. And they are definitely not comfortable with the present leader of opposition, Rahul Gandhi, because every time he speaks, you can see how uncomfortable they get. So it's part of that entire exercise that the government is trying to find a way.
Is it true that the BJP MPs have now been told to go back to their constituencies and connect with the Gen Z? Because Prime Minister tried to make Instagram reels and they didn't cut too much of ice with the Gen Z. And we saw the kind of riposte coming in from the Gen Z itself and the different kind of memes saying that they don't connect at all with the Prime Minister. So if the Prime Minister didn't click with the Gen Z, how can we expect these BJP MPs to go and reconnect with the Gen Z?
Absolutely. I think the Prime Minister, as well as all the senior leaders, have made it clear to parliamentarians to not only be in touch with your constituency and the constituents, but more particularly the younger generation, the Gen Z, as we talked about, to find out what exactly is happening. You've seen no less than Mohan Bhagwat, trying to connect with the Gen Z and, made that entire public interview to try to speak and understand where they're coming from. So I think somewhere down the line, be it a pracharak or not a pracharak, from the RSS or not to the RSS, everybody is trying to understand and reconnect their way of looking at how things play out. Because at this present juncture, if there has been something that Prime Minister Modi has been found wanting, it was the fact that he hadn't been able to connect on Instagram. The kind of, and as he used the kind of abuses, the kind of people that were brought after, and you look at the intelligent way the protesters, the CJP party has been, I think they say, there's been funding from, when they allege that you're getting funding from outside. Yes, he says, yes, we're getting funding from the PM audit. Please audit the PM Care Fund. Please audit the PM Care. And because the PM Care is not audited and it has a separate auditor, they really don't know how to answer those questions. So they are using their own intelligent way. These are intelligent people who have, spent years studying. They've been traumatized by the fact that you haven't had a proper education. And it's in that basis, Neelu, we are seeing the BJP really trying to reconnect with the same people who had voted them to power, 12 years ago.
Right. But Sunil, now important crucial elections are going to come up next year. In fact, months are left now. And with this student protest and plus the Ram Mandir Chanda Chori issue, how is it? I mean, will BJP have to go back to the drawing board and try and see with what kind of a narrative will they launch themselves in states like Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Goa, Gujarat? All these are states which will be going to elections next year. And I'm sure this Hindu-Muslim narrative, Mandir Masjid, is not going to work at all with them.
That's right. So as you are well aware, I think the first battle is Punjab. Prime Minister himself has been working very hard on that front, already establishing contact with the Akalis, trying to reconnect with them and see how we can work with them, I mean, for the BJP. So if we do see an Akali BJP combine fructifying into reality, despite, there's misgivings about the farmers' bills and everything else, there will definitely be a huge, massive impact. On the other side, you've seen the Congress, which is right now faction-ridden, and that's only going to go from bad to worse. It's not going to improve, and that's something that needs to be taken into account. It's really that they have got such a well-oiled machinery. They've got the entire RSS, the Sant Parivar, which backs them. They've been working at it. They've already made their course correction in terms of what they want in the party structure in Punjab, and they're making that reconnect with the people to find out how things are proceeding. So,
no, but is there a state of confusion? Sunil, is there a state of confusion within the BJP and the RSS ranks now? Because the other day when Home Minister Amit Shah was in Pondicherry and he was on a Tiranga Yatra, and there were people who were wearing those saffron robes, and somebody handed him over that saffron flag and he immediately threw it away. And in realizing that this might backfire, maybe especially in a place where he was in Pondicherry. So what does it go to show? I mean, that was quite a talked about episode. So, which is why I'm asking that, is there some confusion right now within the BJP ranks? How they should be dealing with even in small episodes like Tiranga Yatra, which they've handled it so effortlessly in all these years?
I think they're worried about Uttar Pradesh. Let's be clear that Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath really doesn't get along well with the Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah. And it's in that backdrop that they will have to be able to understand how things play out there. The fact that, in UP, you didn't do well in the 2024 elections, they might have tried to retrieve ground from then. But the fact that the Ram temple theft takes place is something that has not gone down well. And from Prime Minister to everybody understands that this is an emotive issue. How are they going to course correct? What are they going to do? How are they going to placate various people? I think that's where they want to go to the drawing board and work with various political forces to understand how they can, make course correction and get it right. In the meanwhile, the Congress is urging the Samajwadi Party to, cement an alliance quick enough with seat adjustments with various like-minded parties to take it forward. So you've also seen a party like Chirag Paswan, who's already said, I'm going to contest in Uttar Pradesh. If they don't give me any respectable seats, I'll contest it alone. Even though he has his own impact. It's a Dalit Sena party based in eastern UP, which will have an impact. So I think everybody is going to ask for their pound of flesh, be it on the opposition side or on the treasury benches, in particular the BJP. And how they find that bonhomie and work together is going to be tough. But it's definitely a tough days ahead for the BJP in Uttar Pradesh. They're worried because they want to restore it. They've already won twice over. This will be the third time running, and I think that's the big factor that is playing uppermost in their minds.
But what is your assessment, Sunil, the way post 20th July, and especially since the time the Cockroach Janata Party staged the protest? For now, we do not know whether they'll form a party or not, but they definitely are proving out to be a potential pressure group. Like what they said, that we will not sit quiet. We will put pressure on the judiciary. We will put pressure on the election commission, and obviously the continuous pressure on the government. Like Ashutosh Ranka on one of the TV channels the other day, they said when they were asked that from where is your fund coming, so he said, we are getting the funding from PM CARES fund, and you better ask any of the agencies to investigate that. So that is a very clear way of, in fact, rather a clever way of putting pressure on the government. So I'm sure the things are not going to remain the same for BJP. Like earlier, they thought that, okay, we'll brazen it out and somewhere down the line, we'll come back with the same tactics. But is that now going to work if BJP thinks that they will go back to the old ways?
I think they'll have to reinvent it. I think you give a good anecdote and you give a good point. The Gen Z, the CJP, I don't know whether they will become political. I doubt they will be, but they will definitely be a pressure group. They will be a force which will make people sit up and and understand, and they will have to respond to those points which they raise. I think that's critical in the next few days and months, because for them it's not only this. There are people who want to, make a connection with it. Ethanol, the fact that the middle class are paying for petrol, but it's diluted and it's become an issue there. There are a host of other issues that they want to raise, and everybody feels somewhere down the line that there has to be accountability. I think accountability is the big word. We're seeing what is the tragedy that Parliament today is no more accountable. As you rightly pointed out, the fact that the Home Minister didn't bother to answer about 20th July was basically a ruse not to answer about the Ram Temple, because these are points that everybody wants an answer to. And if you can't get it on the floor of the House, in the temple of democracy, where else will you do it? What stopped? I mean, if you can see the Vice President of India and the Chairperson of the Rajya Sabha come out and say the Home Minister must answer, what stopped Home Birla as Speaker to ask for the same question? Yeah. And why did he keep quiet till the last minute? You can now give great sermons and try to speak to people, but the fact is that these Gen Z people are no more fools.
No, and you rightly pointed out, Sunil, when you said that if the Rajya Sabha chairman could request the Kiran Rijiju to tell the Home Minister to come to the House, and even then he is not bothered to come to the House, so which means that they've decided already that they will brazen this out, they will somehow change the narrative, probably present a distorted picture. But coming to Rahul Gandhi, and that's my last question to you, Sunil, that Rahul Gandhi's Prayagraj program, which everyone was like a blockbuster, which everybody thought it was. And after that, yesterday's hard-hitting press conference where he very in clear terms said that the country is not ready to hear the fantasy conversations of Amit Shah. That was like a very hard-hitting sentence which he had used. How do you see the role of Rahul Gandhi now coming up within Congress and even otherwise as the leader of the opposition?
So I've known Rahul from 2004 when he entered politics, and I've seen how he's evolved. Good for him. He's really been able to make a mark. His general PR from a Pappu to a leader of opposition has come up in a big way, and I think full credit to him. His personal PR has taken is gone on a new high. But the truth be told, as your program says. The fact is that Rahul Gandhi's PR does not correlate with the Congress party's development. It is, the Congress has not yet been able to connect with the masses, has not been able to work within the organization to build people, to actually, capitalize on his good PR to take things forward. And I think that's the crisis for the party, to be able to use this effective time. The case in point is Punjab. They haven't been able to get it on board. You've seen what Chani is doing and creating damage. They're trying to control it. But he has already decided to chart his own course, and that is why they're standing firm on these issues. So he's just definitely has a divided house within the party, and hopefully he'll be able to address it. I think unless you are able to, actually tackle the cat, bell it, it's going to be extremely difficult. So that's really his challenge. His personal PR is doing well. He's doing textbook correctness, even though he's been found wanting for a number of times. I still am not too sure whether this will help him to make a pitch for the fourth time or the fifth time for the highest post of the land, because sometimes down the line you need to have a strategic displacement from where you want to take things forward. But that being said, I think we will have to wait and watch and see how he actually helps his party, because if there is a case and a test case, it is actually Punjab. But the Congress has been found wanting. They will have to wait and really pull up their socks if they have to fight what is going to be most likely an Akali BJP combined in the next few months.
All right. So a lot of interesting developments now to watch out for. Thank you so much, Sunil. It was wonderful having you on the program. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Pleasure to you.
Thank you.